why study this? Why get really good at getting more referrals from homeowners?
Yeah, there's so many reasons. The referrals generally close faster. They're generally better clients. There's a lot of organic reasons to it, but
Hey, how's it going? It's Tim Brown, and this is the Hook Better Leads podcast. And today we have John Senac on from Master Your Craft. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, man. How are you today?
Doing very good. We're talking about how to get more referrals from homeowners. And I think, half the businesses out there only live on referrals. So they must be doing it pretty well, but I don't think most people are doing it as well as they could. That's what a lot of people tell me anyways. They're like, no, I have enough business from referrals, especially on the smaller side. Um,
Quite frankly, how we sold 10, 20 years ago versus how we sell now, we try and sell the same, but we have to remember that the brain is only going to process so much crap in a day, right? And we filter so much of that out throughout the day. And then we have this now that we didn't have 10, 15, 20 years ago with everything right at our fingertips and ads and media and constant just absorption of information and shorter attention spans on things. So the ability to have your marketing catch the way it may have used to, with a lot less of this going on and a lot less crap for a homeowner to filter through, I think that's really one of the biggest driving factors for me. Was I realized it was noisy, and I wanted a very, very focused message to people to try and market what I was selling and what I was doing and myself throughout that process.
When you first started out, what worked for getting referrals from homeowners? Like, what were the first couple times for like, okay, I like this, I'm going to be using this? And then what were some advanced moves as you got better with it?
So the very organic path that I went through was, when I first started, I thought a referral came from a really good experience. I just thought that the experience would be so good that they would send a referral. Then I started leaning on the company's program. The company would incentivize somebody that if they referred somebody who purchased a roof, then they would get, 250, 500. Different companies had different programs, right? And I was using that. And the more I did those things and tried to increase the experience, the level of service, and continue to promote that you could get this nice $250, $500 check if someone signs up, I kind of reflected on that and thought to myself, no, I don't know that I'd be that interested in that. I would originally, initially, but knowing that a lot of those referral programs rely on someone actually purchasing something. So that can be a long path before that person actually purchases something. And the homeowner's forgotten about that. And when I really thought about that, I was just like, man, it has to be something that is more frequent, that is more urgent, that is, now in their hands. And that's really when it changed for me. And unfortunately, that was a good, almost 10 years into my career before I started driving home that referral point. And when I really started to realize the thing I wanted was the introduction, not the closed sale, because it was my job to close the sale, right? And we were incentivizing the closed sale with our reward and referral programs instead of incentivizing the introduction. And when I shifted it to look for the introduction instead, that's when referrals became real to me.
That's awesome. So I know that you're helping train teams, right?
Yes.
Part of Master Your Craft, and you've been, traveling around the country, training companies to do this discipline of roofing sales better and roofing claims process better. How can people get systems in place, for their teams? Or what do you train on when you're in around this idea of getting more referrals?
I train them that they have to start somewhere. What I found was, a lead gets entered, and then that salesperson puts lead source, door knock, neighbor, and they enter the lead source. So the first problem we found was that we felt like the data that was being entered wasn't the best. Okay. We actually found that the ones that a lot of companies I looked at early when I was training this, it said referral. And then there was another box that said from who. Okay. That way you could say who referred them. So eventually that person could get the reward or incentive if that referral came through. And most of the companies I looked at, as I was going through 19, 20, right, really pushing this referral program and training this a lot, 2020 when people are kind of revamping how they sold through COVID and everything, the about half the ones they had flagged at referral did not have a person's name in there. So it's kind of hard to really guarantee that was a referral because whoever put it in there wasn't putting it in properly. So I think biggest piece that was missing was the upfront data. You really don't even know how much referrals you have. And a lot of these companies were less than 20% referrals. And we kind of believe that less than that because the ones that were entered referrals, they couldn't even trace who the referral was. So we realized that the first action that had to take place was we just needed at least one consistent ask. That's it, right? I have several times that I ask. I'm sure we'll chat about those, but they had to have one consistent ask. And I know the different variations of like when the relationship's stronger and what you ask for and all those things. But we just want to make sure that there was at least one consistent ask above and beyond the whole idea of, hey, Tim, if you refer a homeowner and they buy a roof, our company's going to send you this $250 check. We wanted something that was looking for the introduction and not just promoting the company's program. So we wanted to drive home. You're going to start by asking this at this particular point in the sales process every single time. And once we get this down, then we're going to add the next one and the next one and the next one. And then your new people, anybody you hire new, you'll be able to build that from the time they start. But everybody that was already working for the company, we had to break some old habits. We had to introduce this into their system, and trying to think that somebody's going to introduce 4, 5, 6 times that they're going to ask for a referral in a very, very routine system wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
Does your company want to build your brand and get more jobs in the neighborhoods you're currently working in?
The Brick by Brick playbook allows you to establish your brand, your reputation, and gain trust in any neighborhood in your service area with a series of 4 postcards sent once a week to the neighbors of your current jobs. If you want to get more work in the neighborhoods you're currently working in, get with the team at Dope Marketing and get your Brick by Brick playbook set up today.
If there was one spot where you'd ask, if there was only one spot, where would you push people to ask?
For a new person?
Yeah.
After the first inspection. You don't know if you'll see them again, right? You don't know if they will purchase. You don't know if they will close. You don't know if they will have a need. You don't know if they're going to shop around and get bids. I will say that that's one of the hardest asks. So if you're looking for the most convenient time to ask, I would say when you're at the table, when you're picking colors, when you're talking about the project, when you're explaining what's going on, when you're really in the home and having a good conversation and it's not your first conversation, any second or third conversation where there's commitment, that's a good time to ask. That's the easiest time to ask. But truthfully, the best time to ask is when you've got them. First introduction, first inspection, first meeting, first time you go out there, but they're much different asks in those situations.
Role play with me for a second. I'm Mrs. Homeowner.
Mr. Homeowner or Mrs. Homeowner?
I like whenever I role play these things, and you can look into the dark psychology of this or whatever. I like to be the Mrs. Homer. Yes, John, I think we're going to go with you. So I'm looking at the blue. I'm looking at the blue siding and these really cute Owens Corning, this midnight plum shingle.
I'm proud that you know the colors of the shingles too for Owens Corning. That's funny. Which one do you want me to role play? You want me to role play that one where we're actually at the
Yeah, give me the ask, like how you'd really think they should say it.
Just so it doesn't mess with my mind too much, I'm going to call you Tim or Mr. Brown. That's the easiest thing in this setting for me.
All right.
Unless you adamantly want me to call you Mrs. Homeowner, I will call you
Mrs.
Homeowner. So,
this is the one thing. This is the one sticking point I've got is you have to call me Mrs. Homeowner for this.
All right, perfect. All right, Mrs. Homeowner. So I'm glad we got the color selections done. Last time I got out of here in a little bit of a hurry, and I forgot to ask you a really important question. Do you happen to know your neighbor on the right or the left?
Yeah, I'm kind of friends with Julie next door.
Like casually, like kids play sports together. I mean, I can see. Yeah, obviously you have kids. How well do you know them?
We just bring each other meals or treats or something when something's going on. We have like dinner every once in a while.
Well, how about this? I actually would like to treat you to dinner. Okay. Not actually go, but I've got a $50 dinner gift card here, and I'd really like that introduction. If you know them well enough that you guys, pass casually, know their names. And here's why. Everything that you've experienced on your home is likely going on in their home too. And I got to ask, here we are, we're sitting, we've got roof, we've got siding, you're getting new gutters done. Yeah, you've got a $5,000 deductible, but, insurance has handled the rest of this claim here. I got to imagine you're pretty excited to be paying such a low amount for all this work to be done. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Don't you think that your neighbor's going to enjoy that too, if they can have that same experience? Or wouldn't they be upset to find out that they missed that window?
Yeah.
So if you trust me this much, I would love to thank you by offering you this dinner gift card. If you can make that connection for me, if you can make the connection. My style's group text, but if that's not how they communicate, just let me know and let's make that connection.
I like that though. I think it's good, like going with the type of communication that's actually like most current versus like an email thread that's going to get lost for sure or whatever else. And a lot of times they won't even have their neighbor's email potentially.
Right. Well, and I also think that if I'm asking you to give me something, I should make it as easy for you as possible. So what I like to say in those situations is, I'm best with a group text. Is that good for your neighbor? Is that good for you? I like asking those questions because at the end of the day, it really comes down to what's best for you. Oh, she's not much of a texter. Why don't I just call her real quick? Even better. Okay. And you got to be prepared for whatever their answer is. I asked you what's best for that person. So if they say something different than text, be like, great. If that's how they want to do that, sounds good to me. But there's a lot to unpack there. I think one of the things that we fall victim to is we don't sell why when we ask for a referral. It sounds selfish. It almost sounds as if like, gimme, 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 gimme. I want more, more, more. I want commissions. I want sales. I want to close deals. It should sound like, who else would want the experience you've had? It's why I like to ask about their experience, about their level of excitement. Are they happy to get a facelift on their home? Are they happy to be seeing the experience? Are they happy to be, whatever it is, it's a very obvious answer to the question is that question should be asked where it's like this great answer. And you're like, don't you think Julie would like that too? And, when it storms, when it's claims and there's a limited time frame to deal with it, don't you think Julie would be a little bit upset if she found out that she could be looking at this too, but then miss the time window? Because we only have 3 months left to consider this thing, right? So, but I'm always trying to go back to your benefit, your experience, your excitement, your success, not my selfish needs in the referral process. And I do think that's a big barrier that most people miss. They think you like me so much that now's a good time to ask for a referral and that the relationship's so good, or you like me this much and I've done such a good job selling that sure, you'll tell me somebody, especially if I entice you with a gift card, $10, $15, $50, right? Whatever it may be, especially if I entice you with a gift card. No, the thing I need to really entice you with is how good your experience was, not how great I was. And then go, who else wants that? Okay. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack in that question set.
That's really good. If there was the ideal scenario, like if you're talking about 5 asks, well, could you give me the outlay of like where you'd put those or how many you'd really do and where they should go in the process if it was the ideal?
Sure. It's going to vary different services, but for roofing specifically, in a retail transaction, there's less interaction than if there's an insurance claim. Usually with an insurance claim, you're out there because you're going to meet with the insurance company too. So odds are, not always, but odds are the claim gives you a few more opportunities, at least one more, to be out in front of the homeowner. But I think that you should look at every touch point. So if that's an inspection, if that's an adjuster meeting, if that's picking out colors, if that's signing the contract, if that's build day, if that's collecting the final check, if that's coming back out to put their lawn furniture back in place, like the crew didn't do that, so you're doing that, right? Regardless of what it is, maybe a 30-day follow-up after the roof's going on, you at least call them and talk to them about, hey, what do you think of your new roof? I drove by your house. I noticed it looks great to me. I just wanted the thought of you, and I wanted to touch base and see what do you think of it. I think that we also kind of treat sales a little bit transactional in this space. More sales persons treat them transactional than relationship, than long-term, than lifetime. And so it's kind of like once the final check is collected, we're kind of like, bye, like done. I have my commission. I have my close. The job is done. The job is collected.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, I'm not going to call every customer that tells me no 5 times to referral, 30 days later, 90 days later, 6 months later, right? It's pretty clear they're just never going to give that referral. But the human brain, that decision-making process, a lot of decisions in the sale process start to change after 4 impressions. You start getting to 4 impressions, 7 impressions, 11 impressions. You really start to change their willingness to say yes to those things. So if you're asking for a referral once, you haven't even made it to like some of the base numbers of how we buy things and the number of impressions we need before we buy things. You're asking me for a referral. You're trying to sell me the idea of a referral. You need to say it to me 4 times to really trigger that switch, and it exists in there. So my short answer is every touch point. Why not? You just have to understand that touch point 1 is different than touch point 3 is different than touch point 5. I can't ask the same way every time. I can't show up at your door day 1 and be like, Mrs. Homeowner, just wrapped up your inspection. Do your mom and parents and siblings live in town? I'd really like to be connected with them. You're going to say no. The trust isn't there yet. You can't ask open-ended questions in that mode. Like there's just a lot of little pieces, but every touch point is an opportunity to ask.
Okay.
Who do you know?
That's awesome. Do you think of some of the marketing that people are doing should be to increase referrals, or how do you think of that? Do you think of marketing as related to getting more referrals?
I do. I don't know where your head's going with this, but I think that your social media and your marketing should have referral stories, should have clips about referrals. Hey, we just went out and checked out referral, and I want to tell you what happened on this one. Person who referred us had really bad damage on their home. They sent us a referral. We're out here, and I'm excited to say this home looks great. Okay, like that's a great social media video because you are saying, hey, we're helping somebody right now. We're doing their roof and they had storm damage, but not all roofs have damage, right? Like, so don't be scared to give us your referrals. We're honest. There's some subtle messages in the marketing behind that, and you're talking about referrals. So that's just one example, but I
love that one.
Marketing needs to have any referral incentives that you have, like, hey, refer a friend, right? And if there's a program for that, great. That whatever that monetization is should be visible. But social media clips, man, tell referral stories. Just tell referral stories. They're great stories.
I love that. And it just gets people primed up, right? Like, oh, I could be that person. I could help my friend. I like them. It just reminds you everything that could remind you to refer. And, just like people talk about that, like 95% of people aren't ready to purchase roofing or, a lot of home services, but aren't ready to purchase right now. Don't have a problem right now, but they often know somebody who does, right? There's more likelihood when it's like next time, if they saw you consistently, the next time somebody talks about roof problems, they're more likely to refer you, sometimes just from social, which is crazy. I mean,
you're just talking about the concept of aided recall versus unaided recall. The ability for somebody to just dream up or think of a roofing company, right, on a whim versus they see something, right? They've seen that impression time and time again. They've seen your marketing. They've seen your social media. Then they're talking to their neighbor, and their neighbor's like, oh, man, that last rain, we got a roof leak. That's the aid that forces them to recall all the impressions that they've seen. And they go, oh, actually, I don't know. I got somebody you should call. Yeah. Right? We don't have a problem yet, but like we refer to them and we had a really good, like ours didn't have any issues, or if you shoot that social media video, imagine if someone goes in there and comments like, hey, Pam Smith, this is the guy I was talking about. Hey, Pam Smith, this is who you need to call. So your marketing should be discussing, talking about, showcasing, highlighting referrals. You're a fool not to.
What are some common mistakes some people make in regards to getting referrals from homeowners, and how can they avoid them?
Mistake number one is they're buying the referral, not the lead. And I don't want them to avoid that one. I still think if the company has a program, great. But that is a mistake that I see people take place. Mistake number two is they don't understand the difference between like a systemic referral versus a anomaly. And I'll give you a good example of that. Let's just say I'm going to give everybody I ask a $15 Starbucks gift card. That's a system, okay? But let's say I walk into your house and I see that you and your wife have an entire like wine rack. And in conversation, I'm like, man, you guys, what's your favorite wine? And you tell me your favorite wine. When I come back to your house, I'm not bringing a $15 gift card. I'm bringing that bottle of wine or a couple bottles of wine, right? Like, so failure to pay attention and realize that you could cater it and make it more specialized and more unique to that person if you just pay attention and ask questions. But the biggest failure is they just don't ask enough. That by and far, if that message wasn't clear already in this,
Yeah, no, it's good.
just don't ask enough. Last one is they make selfish mistakes in there. Here's a big failure. Hey, I'm on track to have my best month. Meh. If you're using that as your lead in to ask for a referral, you 100% made it about you instead of that person and that experience. And I've heard that one. I've literally had people tell me that I'm on pace to have my best month. I'm hoping you can help me out. And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, stay away from that, y'all. Anybody listen to this? Stay away from that. Unattractive.
It sounds fun. It's so fun when you're on a roll, right? Like, I think that's why people get in that mode, because they're like, they should care. No one cares about us, right? Like, no one they care about themselves. And that's okay. That's everyone has we FM.
Yep.
What's in it for me? What's in it for me? We FM.
Listen to the difference between these two. Hey, Mrs. Homeowner, I'm on pace to have my best month yet. And I've got this gift card here. And if you can connect me to someone, I would really appreciate it, because I'm really trying to hit that goal. Versus, hey, aren't you excited to get this project done? Aren't you excited to only be paying $5,000 for the same questions? I go,
Yeah.
I tell you what, I had a goal to help 10 people this month have the exact same inspo as you had. Is there one more person you could send my way so I can make sure that just one more person has that experience? Same concept, but I didn't make it monetized, and I made it again about your experience. Like, that's what I mean. Like, they're so selfish in what they ask for sometimes. Not all of them, but I've heard some lousy attempts at goals and numbers to promote referrals. Unattractive.
I think also just noting that like you're containing it versus like, hey, give me 5 of these. Like, you're containing it to 1. You're containing it to this week. All those things just so important in making this sticky in people's brains, right? It's naturally, I don't know if it's difficult, but it's certainly like most people. I think most people aren't doing this, so I think there is a way to do it right, and I think studying and getting better at the way to do it right is really worth people's time. And I think reps, like as business owners, I feel like this is a little bit more intuitive. I think as reps, like knowing the close rate goes up. Close rate goes up too. Like now if that like it's work, right? It's work because maybe you have leads coming to you. Like if you're a lead baby, no disrespect to the lead babies out there. I love you. You're my baby. I'm proud of you. But to the babies out there, to the lead babies, this is such a big, like, do you want to go to the next house being just like a cold whatever lead, or do you want it to go to a house that's like somebody who just got a warm introduction to you? I think you're going to have a better day and a better week if you get more of these. It's a more enjoyable experience to get to sell to these types of people.
Yeah, I had a point in my career where the company was closing about 39% of what they were inspected leads, whatever you want to call them at that point, right? Mm-hmm. And when we segmented out the referral side of things, my referral side of things, those were closing over 70%. So the numbers didn't. I'd have to read spreadsheets to tell you exact numbers year to year to year, but it was always higher. Always higher. There was never a point in my career when I was good at referrals that if you segment out my referrals, that they were worse than the company average or the rest of my closing ratio. My closing ratio was always best in referrals. So you're right. You walk into them a little more confident, more poised, more comfortable, more trusted, less cold call feeling. And odds are they've sent you somebody in the area or in a place or that has a need or has the pain point. So there's just so many things stacked in your favor on a referral.
And the beauty of this referral thing and the warmness of these leads and the opportunity there is that, like, I think people think to themselves, like, okay, they sort all their leads in AccuLinks or wherever, right? They're like putting it all, where are my highest close rate? Where am the most amount of revenue? And a lot of times they see referrals on there in the list, but they don't think there's anything they can do to change it. That's just like what happens if we do great work, right? And so the switch, if I could make your brain switch, like I'd love for a few people's brains to switch on this, is like, there are things you can do. and honestly, it's the best stuff. I sell marketing, but I still think this is the best stuff ever. If you're going to spend money on anything, it's to increase the referrals. Like if I could spend all my money for our marketing on increasing referrals, I would spend it all there, because it's like that close rate being higher. And as time goes on, that number just keeps going on. I heard somebody like say, you want to try to make the amount of referrals match the amount of other business you're getting. So if that's a challenge to you, like some people, like they have 90% leads, everything's from leads. And then what if you just try to like always try to get it so it's 1-to-1. So there's a lead coming in. Yeah, there's one referral. Like that ability to kind of like push into this, anything else you can do to push into this is going to make everybody's lives better.
So my goal is to get to 2-to-1, right? If you talk to someone, how do you get 2 leads out of that one particular transaction? And 1 year, my career, I did accomplish that. I hit 71% referrals, right? So I actually went slightly above the ratio that I was looking for. So I know that somebody can accomplish a 1-to-1 ratio. It can be done, but not guessing, not asking once, and not, I know somebody who's, and you probably know these data points and statistics better, but their cost of a lead, they had calculated out to like $237, right? Okay. So yeah, that math works great. If you get 10 leads and you're closing at 40% and you look at the margins on jobs and everything, yeah, that's a great cost to lead. And I look at that and I think, okay, well, let me just kind of give you some basic math here. Okay. If I was to take in there and I had 10 $10 gift cards, 4 $25 gift cards, and a $35 gift card in there, I have 15 gift cards to hand out to ask for inspections. Statistically speaking, if the company's close ratio is 40% and I have 15 gift cards to ask out for referrals, that means I have 6 jobs closed out of that 15. That means for the same amount of money it costs to get a lead by that company's data, I could go buy the leads way cheaper at a referral rate and get those things to the finish line for the cost of one. So for the cost of your marketing one, I could probably turn 15 inspections and close 6 or more of those. Again, if you're closing, you should close about a higher rate than 40% on referrals. But I just, and for everybody listening to, look, if you're in this industry and you're in the sales space, I hope that when you hear these things, if there's anything that you're excited about, that your first move is not to go to your company owner and go, hey, I think you should give us all gift cards. If your company owner wants to participate in that, good for them. I hope they do. But this was my own money that I was spending. This wasn't one of the companies saying, hey, can I have this? Can I have this? Can I have this? No, this is my own money spending because I realized the value of my time. Like what I could accomplish asking 15 people and spending, $250, $300 to have handouts for those 15 people. What I could do with my time there was more efficient than anything else. It was more efficient than cold calling. It was more efficient than door knocking. It was more efficient than any other method that I could try and go self-generate leads. So again, I'm thinking to myself, okay, if it takes me 10 doors to get a good inspection, that means I'm probably having 2 or 3 conversations. Then I have to have that conversation with the homeowner that finally says yes, and all that door knocking. But in less than 5 minutes, I could probably create that referral from somebody, spend $10, $15, $25 to get that referral instead of burning my time. Now I'm just an inspection machine rather than a door knocking machine. So I do worry if you get really, really good at this. No, you have a pipeline, you should stay good at this, that you may eventually not be good at door knocking because you just don't door knock anymore. So
who cares? You know, at the end of the day, it's like knowing skills that get leads gives you a lot more freedom. You know what I mean? Whatever those skills are, like if you get good at social media, that's a skill that could get leads. If you get good at door knocking, that's a powerful, powerful skill that can get leads. And if you get good at referrals, you just save time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Save time for sure. Spend a little bit of money, but what your reward is off of that, significant. So
Rilla allows you to listen to it's an AI in your pocket, listens to the appointment. It's pretty crazy what it can do. It gives a script, gives everything they said, it breaks down some statistics for you.
Analyze talk ratio, interactivity, like how you and I are interacting back and forth, longest modeling, like all those things.
This is the shit that I most believe in AI.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Enhancing the
You're
user
about to put
experience.
math and data around something that used to be my magic skill.
And I mean, this one's like, I don't know if you have an answer for this. Is there any tools or any things that you would suggest that people could use to increase referrals or anything else like that? If not, that's fine. I don't need to include this question, but.
no, not really. No, I don't have a good. Are you talking like apps or something like that to track them?
Yeah, I don't know. If there's anything, I mean, from what I can tell is like the gift card thing. And I don't know if you give specific restaurant gift cards or if you do like preloaded visas, or I don't know what you would do at this point, but Starbucks is a good one. So common ones that people actually like, and just getting those and experimenting with it and see how it goes.
So if you're going to use gift card strategies, if they're low dollar amounts, they need to be easy low dollar amounts to spend. That's going to be coffee shops. That's going to be something simple like that. You know, maybe they've got a local place, like a breakfast place, a donut place, something like that. Those are really the good ones. Your Starbucks, your Dunkin' Donuts, things of that nature. Those are really good ones for small pay.
Sweet.
If you're going to do bigger pay, maybe find a pizza place, like you can get a pizza for $25. You can usually get pizza and something else with that, right? So a lunch place, a local place, a pizza place, or you can just up that. I think at $25, you could also start using Amazon, right? Like $25 is worth me taking the time and putting it on an Amazon account. You are making the assumption they have an Amazon account. But
a lot of people do.
And then if you're going to go above that, try and make it for that person. You know the restaurant they like, or you're willing to get the gift card for the restaurant they like if you're starting to get in like the 50 range. So it does kind of vary as far as the gift cards you would use if you're going to use that gift card strategy. But again, that's the systems, having a variety of different gift cards. The anomalies are like what I told you, that you notice that they like wine, you ask the question about it, you brought them wine. You notice that they have dogs because when you show up their house, they bark their brains off. And the next time you show up, you have a little dog toy and some dog treats, right? Like those, and you don't barter those. You don't go, for these dog treats, I just need a lead. Okay. You just give the dog treats and then ask for the referral in that situation. So, yeah, there's a lot of little things that can be done that are anomalies, but if the gift card system, that's my structure, how I hierarchy the dollar amounts on those gift cards. Awesome, man. Well, I think that covers that topic pretty thoroughly. Appreciate everyone watching and checking this out. I did want to like touch on like just a few random like industry things with you. I don't always hang out with you, so I wanted to get a react to a recent. This is just happened. We had this in your group. Name that if you guys aren't part of. Name that shingle. Name that siding and more. Yeah, name that roofing, siding, and more. You should be part of that group because it's really good. But there's somebody that shared this and was very angry.
Which I'll get this reaction.
Difference between expensive underlayment and better.
Oh yeah,
performant
I know what video you're
direct,
talking about.
roofing insights underlayment.
So-
knife here, it's actual conch knife with the roofing insights. Very simple, nice test.
What was your reaction
We
here?
have on scoring.
I actually watched it the first time. I didn't even pay attention.
Yeah.
He that he gets through 1, 2, then he gets through his engineering, and he uses the knife backwards.
This one, big box store favorite.
So,
Great price.
so the person was very frustrated because they're like, "This is not real. You didn't do a real test." And what do you feel like it was actually originally a joke, or do you feel like he kind of flipped it?
I think that Dimitri's very good at getting people to engage. So whether it was a joke, intentional, accidental, he understands how to lean into those things. He understands the engagement on those things. And for everybody who hasn't recorded the video, I'm going to give just the possible benefit of the doubt. Okay. That when you do a take, and you do a really good take that you talk through, when you're doing a take where you're standing like on a roof or something like that, and you're just talking about something, or when you're doing action in a take, okay, stuff can get missed. No, I don't think that was over. That's just my gut feeling. I don't think he accidentally flipped it over and it happened to be on his felt in that situation. So whether he did it as a joke, did it for the reaction.
So did you see like he shared like another clip of like somebody with their shirt, and it was a joke, and it was kind of a similar looking thing, and it looked like that was like literally what inspired the video. It kind of
I was kind of curious, like, is that a thing that went viral and we missed it? So he just duplicated that, assuming people have an association. So I think he knew. I think
it was rage bait. I think he was trying to get. That's what I think. And I Dimitri's always kind of an enigma to me, but I think he was trying to get people, and he did. He got people pretty pissed.
Oh yeah, I mean, we do it. I do it.
Yeah,
I do it a lot. Now, mine are very, very intentional. Like, and I don't say it. I'll give you a really good example. I've got videos. I've got videos where I'm walking on a ridge, okay? And you should not walk on ridge cap shingles. You can really crumple them, wrinkle them, pull them from the nails, slide them out, especially if there's ridge vent under it. Not good, right? Like, not on an old roof like that. And when I do these videos, when I'm walking on a ridge, like, that roof is being replaced. Like, we're out there shooting content on that. And without fail, every time someone's like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's walking on the ridge. And I'm like, hey, man, roof's being replaced. So we just shot one where I'm stomping the ridge just so people can get that first, 3 seconds of reaction. That one's going to get posted.
Yeah, because they get real mad. And then they drive up the views.
So it does. And this is the world that we live in. And I think understanding that social media, you can work and work and work and work and work. And you can then target trends and target stuff that's kitschy and all that kind of stuff. You can do that as much as you want. But some of the best stuff is when you mess up. Some of the best stuff is when there's something wrong in there. Some of the best stuff is when they're going to criticize you as far as engagement is concerned. So get a little uncomfortable and take a little heat, okay?
That's why I did the female voice on my role play with you, is because I know people are going to hate it and they're going to comment about it. And by the way, feel free to comment still. I'm not mad. And then I do think that people know how to do that. Now, I don't think you should make your whole social media strategy over that.
No.
But because I think some people do that, I think that's a waste, because you also want most of your content to associate you with positive brain chemicals like oxytocin and love and community and positive things. And you shouldn't always take everyone, like, for instance, you and I are trying to get the national, you're trying to national for roofing, right? And same with Dimitri, but it doesn't mean that like every roofer should go out and try to duplicate that strategy. Although I have seen people do it well. I just don't think you should sit there and do rage bait all the time just as your whole strategy.
No, and I don't know the perfect mix, but over 50% of your content definitely needs to be you, who you are, your community involvement, how you build roofs, how you, all that stuff. Over 50% of it. depending on the style of it, I think that a small portion of it should be the personal you, right? Like there's just a little bit of personal you in there, like basically just enough for them to realize you're a real human, like you do this thing too. Oh, you coach softball for your kids, or like just that small stuff. For me, that's doing something with the boys or doing dances with my daughter, right? And then you have to have a small percentage that is just going to get reactions, like crazy reactions, wild reactions. You called it rage bait, whatever you want to call it on there. Like one of my
just
favorite
spicy content
is, man, the amount of times that we shoot at an angle to where it just looks so scary on that roof that it's going to get, where's your harness? Where's your harness? Where's your safety gear? Where's your safety gear? Well, OSHA has a fall protection exemption for inspecting the work that needs to be done. But most of the people commenting have not been through an OSHA certification. So when they comment, they're commenting something they can comment quickly. And I love it. I literally know that comment is going to come up. So if a really good one is, you're good, to hit a good angle, walk on the ridge, and then we get a lot of engagement on those because like shouldn't walk on a ridge. Where's your safety harness? You don't know what you're doing. Here's another one that I think is really, really helpful. Change your gear in your photos. Like if you're in the trades and you have gear on, every now and then, like use or hold up or put in your tool belt a brand new hammer, right? It's just people like, this guy's never done this before. Look at that hammer. It's nice he's shined it, right? Like, but then you only do that like sometimes just to see if the reaction time's there. Like, this is how small the details like you can get into. Like, I remember I put a brand new hammer in my pouch and people were like, this guy's never roofed before. Look at that hammer. Like people were zooming in and screenshotting it and posting it back in there and everything. And I was like, oh, what I did was outsmart you because you did exactly what human behavior was predictably going to do on one little change I made in my gear packet for this particular video. So as humans are kind of predictable.
It's awesome though that there is this opportunity. It's like what we're noticing, like small things, right? It's not like you're not doing awful things on social media to get feedback because you really do want the work to be good and you want the overarching ideas to be good. And then these small things, because we know people. The other one is leaving something unsaid, right? Like where if you, Austin Blomquist, roofer TikTok, talked to me about this, where it's like, there's something that, yes, the full answer is this, but he'll leave something unsaid so that everyone comments it. Sometimes I think that leaving something unsaid.
Example of one. Oh, my background just dropped. I'll give you a really good one that I just saw, not related to the industry. It was auto related. And the guy was like, lady said there's a noise coming from the rear. So let's start here. And he like spins the tire and then he pans around the back of the car to the other tire, spins the other tire, and there's no noise like there's as he's rotating the tires. But as he's panning around, you can literally see the alignment on the tires that one is like this, like bent, like it's not like he's wearing the tire out one specific direction. And he's like, he doesn't say there's no problem. All he says is, homeowner says there's a weird noise coming from the rear. Let's spin these and see. And he's like, I don't hear any noise. But the comments were, dude, the tire's bent. God, it's so obvious. Isn't the tire bent? But he didn't say that he was done evaluating. He just left something unsaid so perfectly in that situation that people were just losing their mind trying to point out, like, you call yourself a mechanic and this and the other. Like, I never said that it wasn't bent. I'm saying there's no noise. I'm accurate. When you spin the wheel, there's no noise. But people lost their mind over that kind of stuff. So the left unsaid stuff is very, very, very powerful. If you can find that in your social media strategies, that does some work. I'm gonna tell you right now, that does some good work. So,
and then like that's a really good principle too, right there. Like looking at auto, right? I've gotten a bunch of our formats from auto, just like mechanics. Like they have a ton of great reels. If you ever just go get lost on some other niche, they're like viral stuff, and you can just take the principle and flip it right to your niche or right to your location or whatever.
Mechanics,
so there's just
really good at look what we found here. Customer says they have this problem. Okay. And then, hey, what's the best worst, right? They're talking about things like that. Like What's the most common thing that fails on this car, right? Like, then you take those strategies, listen, you're like, man, I'm going to talk about the common things that fail on a roof, but I'm going to cue it up the way that these guys queued this up. I'm going to talk about products, top products. I'm going to talk about common calls we get, how long this actually lasts versus supposed to last, things like that. Like mechanic, social, if you're in home services and you watch mechanic stuff, there's some good correlations you can make and start translating that into your world in the home services and roofing side of things to make really good content.
Yeah, dig into all these these other weird niche, because we have I'm sure you have this too. It's like your whole social media is just like all roofer, So then go hunt other people's hashtags and stuff, because it's so much easier to rob and duplicate R&D when you're doing it from a different niche where everyone in this industry hasn't seen it yet, or those are the kinds of things that allow you to grab ideas, and it's not like you have to be that creative. We don't have to make up this, because everyone's guessing on what's going to get views and stuff like that. So if you can go find an example, this already got views and this is the psychological principle, I'm going to steal the psychological principle but put it into roofing. You just can go, it's just so much easier and quicker.
Look, one of the big insurance companies out there is known for their mayhem commercials, right? And he's
great commercials.
Dad, that dude is doing awkward things in weird places, like laying on people's cars and all this other stuff. So Paul, who's done a phenomenal job for me, he was like, all right, I want you laying on the roof and start it this way. And that's when he did it. And I mean, I get so many people screenshot that and text. This was from last week. Screenshot me like, dude, the opening of this, dude, this viewpoint's killer. Dude, the message in here is the amount of stuff I got off of that. And I was like, I don't know that the roofers realize why that hits so well for them, because they see those mayhem commercials. They have some sort of almost animosity towards those commercials because they have to experience what a claim is like with Allstate a lot, right? Yeah. But they know, they're very aware of those commercials, and I basically kind of utilized a concept from those commercials in there. The amount of roofers that comment, but I am eyeing on a roof like this from a drone shot straight down, and I'm like, hi, I'm the problem you don't know is going on your roof. Kind of like Facial's intro, right? And I literally used a hook that is used for consumers and is used for insurance, commercials, and you guys got hooked. Yeah.
It's crazy because we always all have opinions and feelings about different providers, insurance providers, but they have the best commercials. If we could just take some hints from some of these giant corporations that know what they're doing on marketing. They know what they're doing.
Millions to spend on marketing and research before they create their marketing. Yeah. That would be a good place to cherry pick some ideas from.
Yes, exactly. Well, John, I really appreciate your time today. Thank you for being on, and thank you for being part of the book. I really appreciate your time. Where can people go to check you out?
So social media platforms, everything's John the Roof Pro except for Facebook. That's John Senac. I'm old. I have my original Facebook account, right? So everything else, Insta, TikTok, YouTube, everything else is John the Roof Pro. And then if they want to look at some of the programs that I have, johntheroofpro.com, the website, and talk about classes and recorded programs, or masteryourcraftgroup.com if they're really looking for that deep dive monthly sessions with me and Chris. That training has become a community, borderline a mastermind of people that has just been so fun to be a part of. So depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking to get shingle identification, pro.ntsid.com for those people trying to get shingle and siding analysis, which is another company that I have. There's all the answers, Tim.
Appreciate that very much. And I see great things about NTS and all the people using it, and not that it would do us any favors to talk badly about any other shingle identification things, but a lot of them have very close ties with certain other companies that have vested interests and things like this. So I think to have a more impartial option on that is really important for the industry.
Well, I entered an industry that was, for all purposes, monopolized, and it still sort of is. You have one giant company that was doing it, and they were the only ones doing it. Then you have the largest insurance company doing it in-house, So it's not even a third-party service. It's not a service anybody else can use. And then little old me and my team, very, very talented people, come in and do this. So yeah, man, anytime there's monopolies, you got to start wondering where their allegiance is, where, who do they really align with? So I'm not going to sit here and accuse one way or the other, but every time I see a monopoly, I'm always a little questioned, like, what's the alignment? Like, wait, why is that built that way? Why is that a monopoly? Why is that the only person that does that? The only company that does that? So
asking big, important questions here. I appreciate it. And thank you for being on. Thank you for watching the podcast. Appreciate you guys. The podcast is put on by hookagency.com.